Hello, hello. Black Bean Samson here. Good morning, everyone. It is about 8 o'clock a.m. It's February 12th, 2019. Hope you all are out having a good Tuesday morning. So, as you can see, or if you're listening, looking at a natural news article. It was written yesterday by Mike Adams. So, in the tech and the banking, it just seems like the rich and powerful are really lashing out about censorship between the banks and a lot of the tech companies that have media control, especially the ability to censor people through either financial means or through like media means. They're attempting to it at any way possible. I mean, there's definitely antitrust laws here that I'm like, how are they not breaking? Especially this right here. But we're gonna read through this real quick here. Bombshell. It's the headline. Apple demands Natural News stop writing about abortions or Satanism. Threatens to block Natural News app from all Apple devices. Now, I just want to point out that back in I'm not exactly sure on the dates here off the top of my head, but like in the 70s or something, there was laws that were passed that essentially stopped Hollywood from owning and monopolizing all the theaters, all the movie theaters. Because what was happening was that they were only releasing movies that they wanted in their theaters, and they wouldn't let competition essentially in to release what they wanted it to release. Well, even though the movie theaters even though Hollywood or certain say Paramount. So Paramount owns a theater. Well, Paramount cannot by law be the only movie distributor from that theater. Even though Paramount is a movie maker themselves, they cannot be the only distributor out of that movie theater. This is so monopolies and this case with movie theaters and that it just can't be monopolized. It can't be monopolized by the rich and powerful. And this is what's happening now with tech industries or media, is that they've gotten so rich and powerful they don't care about you no more. You're, as an individual, you're really nothing. You're not, or even as a big company, you're not really a threat for them to censor you. You were 10 years ago because people would have migrated to a different platform in fear of being censored later on. But these people, that's why I'm like, there's like antitrust laws here, like they're like breaking. Like if this is the practices that you guys want to practice, then these are the practices that you guys should have been practicing this entire time. That you guys should have been just censoring people who were advocating things that you didn't agree with, but just suddenly now something's going on here, especially in a country too where it's freedom of speech. That's another my issue. Before I continue, I wanted to say that if you're a company in a country that has freedom of speech, I don't care what company you are, it's too bad. Go to a different country if you don't like freedom of speech. But while you're in this country, you don't get to tell people on what they can say and what they can't say, even if it's on your own platform. You don't get to monopolize it. I see no different than a movie theater. Alright, let's go down here. Alright. Natural News. In a series of shocking demands, emails containing screen captures showing lists of Natural News articles, Apple has demanded Natural News stop publishing articles critical of abortion and Satanism, threatening to block Natural News app from all Apple devices, and Apple demands are not if Apple demands are not met. This is the first time that a dominant tech company has overtly come out in a defense of Satanism while threatening to censor a prominent publisher that exposes the evil of satanic influence. Many people will see this as yet more proof that Apple, all along with others tech giants, is literally in line with Satan to exploiting its power of censorship to silence those who criticize Satanism. I just want to point out too that Apple never cracked the code for the FBI for that San Andreas I think it's like the San Andreas shootings where the guy and the woman, the American guy who married the Middle Eastern woman, and then they both shot up, they killed a couple people or something like that, and they both got killed. But their phone was an Apple phone, and Apple did not want to break the code for FBI. Well, guess what? If anybody didn't know, Roger Stone got arrested. A guy named Roger Stone got arrested, and supposedly he got arrested just for a few things on like transferring information, which I don't see why is illegal as being a news reporter plus being an American. We have the right to freely exchange information, and also because he supposedly lied to Congress. So just because of those two things, somehow Apple feels it's all right to uncrack a code and give it to FBI, but not for people who murdered people. Wrap that around your head. Apple does not want to release codes from people who murdered people, but it's totally willing to attack a guy. And the reason why they did this is because he worked with Trump during the 2016 election. That's why. It's the only reason. Apple is not a good company. They are a very evil company. And this is why they are protecting such things. Why they want to censor abortion talks. That's crazy. With Democrats now openly pushing infanticide and legalization of serial killing of infants, tech giants like Apple are serving as a censorship speech police to silence all criticism of gruesome practice and threatening natural news over our coverage of infanticide and abortion. Apple is staking out the position of being pro-infanticide, and anyone who dares to speak up for innocent children is deemed by Apple to be engaged in hate speech. According to Apple, opposing the murder of children is now hate speech. Yes, you read that correctly, and you heard that correctly. Speaking out to top the mass murder of newborns is now hate speech, according to the deranged, mental ill leftists who run Apple, Twitter, Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Snapchat. Techno-fascism has now become a movement of mass infanticide, and it demands the silence of those who oppose it. Hate speech means standing up for the innocent, demanding an end to the murder of children. And there's a screenshot. It says, here's one of many screenshots sent to Natural News by Apple, along with a warning that these stories would result in our app being blocked. Yeah, I don't see nothing. Like, what? Like the left-wing media run by actual demons possess anti-human evil entities, which the stunning mini documentary, like, I don't... bipolar patients who eat a lot of possessed meat, I have no idea. Apple claims all these articles are objectionable content that people might find offensive. I find everything CNN offensive. I find everything BBC offensive. At what point do these people understand that offensiveness is purely subjective? Only a bunch of fucking morons. Apple claims all these articles are objectionable content that people might find them offensive. Some of the headlines named by Apple as objectionable includes these important reports on Satanism, vampirism, blood harvesting from children, vaccines, cannabis, freedom of speech, and failed war on drugs, anti-Semitism, and much, much more. And they give like a bunch of like article listings. Here's another screenshot of Natural News by Apple, along with demands of removing all these content or face the consequences. So they're just like posting video or pictures of what you would find on, like, if you're scrolling through your phone, like screen pics. There are more and more screenshots too sent by Natural News by Apple, indicating that Apple is trolling all natural news content and is trying to find examples of stories to be offended about. Some of the other content that Apple says is offensive includes articles about abortion, infanticide, censorship, the LGBT agenda, and illegal immigration. Fighting back against Apple censorship. We must fight back to Apple censorship. There are several ways you can help us do that. We need your help to take action now, and let Apple know that we will not be silent in the face of techno-fascism and censorship. First, fill out this Apple feedback from the iPhone and tell them you don't want Apple censoring Natural News app. You can also tweet to the official Apple account, assuming if you didn't get banned already. Like all the tech giants, Apple has been consumed by truly demonic forces and now demands the silence of all those who oppose evil, murder, and tyranny. It's true. I was just talking to a few people about like how like Rush Limbaugh too. He's a huge Apple supporter, and I know there's been a few people who've called him out on it, but it seems like the more and more he's coming across this like censorship and how Apple is not being a good tech company no more. They're not being a company for the people now. They're really just being like falling in line with all these other tech companies, especially in how they parent their customers. They literally parent their customers. These new tech companies are they're like new parents for these techno kids, pretty much. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this podcast, please still like and subscribe. Comment down below for just comments, advice, for anything really. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. Bye.